Hey, what's up guys? Jburton here. It's been a while since I released one of these videos. It's because it's been getting so close to Legion. I've been iffy, about whether I should even do any more of these because things are changing so much. But we probably still have about 5 months till Legion even comes out because we haven't even entered beta yet. And Blizzard likes to take their time, but that's okay. We would like a complete game, a finished game, not one rush game. So that's okay. So anyways, I decided I might as well keep these going because there's still plenty of time for PvP and people to, want to pick up a different class or spec and get into it. And in this is my part 2 destruction, part 2 of destruction, which would be rotations and cooldown usage. So starting off, this is for brand new warlocks right here. These are basic tips that pretty much most people know, but everybody needs to know them. So when you start off in the match, you need to get your demonic circle down in a good defensive position. Behind a pillar is ideal. And then go for your demonic gateway. We're not really going for getting the gateway out. The main reason we cast this is because the enemy team usually wants to try to stop you getting that gateway out. It's honestly not a big deal if it gets out. It can help the healer live, that's the main thing, but we don't really care if it gets out or not. We want them to charge us so we're in a good defensive position and they're out of position, out in the open. So the gateway really helps with that. And if they don't charge you, which is kind of rare, then oh well, we get our gateway out. Win-win, right? So that's how you start the match off. Now, if you're versing any kind of stealthy, make sure you're spamming Rain of Fire everywhere. Spam it, and spam it, and spam it. No, well, I'm having trouble spamming. There we go. And spam it, and spam it. You can cover so much of the arena with fire. It's so easy to knock out stealthies. When I'm playing on my Feral or Rogue, I hate versing Destros. I want to try to get an opening or sap the Warlock as soon as possible. Because those Rain of Fires are so easy to knock people out. And remember, as Destro, you regenerate mana so fast, it doesn't matter if you're Just look how fast my mana's going back up. I mean, look at that. So don't worry if you're just keep spamming. Okay, now let's actually go into the rotations. There's a number of ways you can start off the arena match, but I'm just going to tell you the way I prefer to do it. I don't like to use my very first Burning Ember as a Chaos Bolt, as a Havoc to Chaos Bolt. That's not how I like to start the match off. You can do that, that's not bad. You can force defensive potentially early on. But I prefer to start off the match with a Havoc on one target, and then pop Conflagrate on another. This does two things. Conflagrate, since we have it glyphed, you should have it glyphed. Glyph of Conflagrate. Conflagrate no longer requires Immolate on the target to snare the target. So we can apply a slow without Immolate being on the target. But since we have Havoc procced on one target, the Conflagrate will hit both and snare both of them. So we can slow two targets at once, and we generate double the amount of the Burning Embers that we normally would. A great start. That leaves you with 2 more charges of your Havoc, which should be spent immediately on 2 Incinerates, which won't take long because you'll have your backdraft buff from your Conflagrate. So let me just demonstrate really quick. So start of the match, here we go, blah 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 blah. I'm gonna Havoc this guy, Conflagrate, hit them both, and then 2 Incinerates. And it generates Burning Embers so quickly for you. Now, at this point, you should be very close to 4 Embers, and if you're not, just a couple more Incinerates should do it. And now you're ready for your burst. Now, there's one macro I use for bursting. It just uses Dark Soul instability, and my use trinket, my Warmongering Combatant's Badge of Dominance. They're both 1 minute cooldowns. They go together nicely. So, what we're going to do is we're going to Conflagrate our main DPS target, just apply a slow, but not really that. We want it for the backdraft buff. Then we're going to Havoc another target, because we want our burst Chaos Bolt to hit both targets. So we have one person snared from Conflagrate, we got our backdraft buff up, and we have Havoc on another target. Pop your Dark Soul instability macro to go with your trinket, and then Chaos Bolt once, which will use up your Havoc. Conflagrate again, because we have 2 charges. Conflagrate again, we'll have 3 more backdraft charges, which is 1 more Chaos Bolt, and we'll Chaos Bolt again. So let me just demonstrate really quick, because that was kind of weird wording. So we're gonna Conflagrate, boom, Havoc. Did I put it? Yep. Okay, and then we're gonna pop our burst macro, and then Chaos Bolt once, Conflagrate, cast bolt again, and then you can just apply a few more cast bolts. They're just longer cast. Very good burst macro right there. The cool part is you can do this easily once every minute. And that is a lot of damage. The downside is it's a hard cast burst, and it's hard to get those casts. Especially if they have a rogue or a warrior or a any melee, they're going to be sitting on you. You can guarantee it. If not, you should be guaranteed to win the match if you're free casting. So it comes down to kiting around a lot and having your teammates help pill for you. Your teammates have got to be busting their butts and using all their pills to keep people off you. Because you can bet your ass the enemy is thinking we do not want that Destro getting those free burst periods every 1 minute. They kind of freak out. If they see that Dark Soul instability, they know it's coming. And if they see that Havoc, they're probably going to panic too. So, whenever your teammate's like, hey, I've got the stun ready, and they don't have a trinket, I'll stun that rogue off you. Alright, cool, I'm ready. Alright, boom, stun, and let the burst fly. You got to coordinate like that, otherwise you're going to have a hard time getting your burst off. That's actually my whole rotation. And once you do that, remember, your Dark Soul instability has 2 charges, because we took that 1 talent, which you should have, in my opinion. Archimonde's Darkness, Dark Soul now has 2 charges. So you can use that one also for some more Chaos Bolts. It's just, you won't have the trinket available, but it's still good damage. So you can do it probably every 30 seconds if you want. Now, don't forget, you still need to be getting all your counter spells off, your fears, your stun. There's still those other responsibilities. So it's kind of hard to burst every 30 seconds. But by all means, do it when you can. Okay, so let's talk about cooldowns. We don't really have a lot of cooldowns. I usually take Blood Horror if there is any kind of melee, because that Blood Horror can actually get you that enough time to get that Chaos Bolt off. If you aren't versing any melee, I would recommend Unbound Will, because you're most likely, if you're not versing melee, you're going to be versing some type of caster with a lot of CC, which will be helpful to be able to get out of it. So, if you do have Blood Horror, don't just waste it at the beginning of a match. Save it, because that has a 1 minute cooldown. 1 minute is actually a while, so save it for an important time. And remember, warriors can spell reflect this. Quite often, I'll see a warrior, when I engage them, they'll immediately pop spell reflect. So, let's say you pop your Blood Horror. He pops a spell reflect, and he hits you. Instead of him getting feared, it fears you. So be watching for that spell reflect. I already talked about Dark Soul instability. But once again, you should make a macro that combines that with your use trinket, and use it when you're ready to burst with Havoc and Chaos Bolt. Sacrificial Pact. This is one I pretty much take almost all the time. If you're in a 2v2 environment, excuse me, and you're up against 2 melee, or some type of double DPS, I recommend you take Dark Bargain instead of Sacrificial Pact, because it's going to be a quick match, and you're going to get a lot more utility out of your Dark Bargain. Also, in a 2v2 environment versus double DPS, you want to take off Eternal Resolve. You do not need that. It's a 10% damage reduction, which is only great if you have a healer. If you do have a healer, keep this on. But if you do not, get rid of that and grab Strengthened Resolve. It makes it where it goes up to a 30-second, or it goes up to a 3-minute cooldown, but you get 60% damage reduction. And remember, Unending Resolve makes it where you can't be interrupted for 8 seconds. So it allows you to burst easier. I only recommend that, though, in 2v2s. So anyways, Sacrificial Pact. You get more out of this when you're at a good amount of health. Because if you're low on health, you'll get a much smaller shield. So use it, it's a 1 minute cooldown, so if you see somebody pop wings or something, pop this early. You'll have it back up next time by the time they get that up. Actually a lot earlier. Your Demonic Circle Teleport. Let your healer know when you're going to use this, because you don't want them to have a big heal coming off, like a giant heal. It's going to heal you for a lot, but you just LOS'd them, and they can't find you. Let your healer know, hey, I got teleport, I'm about to use it. Okay, that's great. Do it. And with that said, you also need to make sure you guys put icons above your heads, like those little diamonds or moons, skulls, squares, whatever, just so you can easily see where you're at, because you will lose your healer if you guys don't have them marked when you do that little teleport, so that helps out a lot. Fire and Brimstone, you can really take this off your bars. This is not useful at all in my opinion. We are all about doing huge, strong damage and not trying to hit a bunch of people at once for crappy damage. You could maybe find use for this in RBG if you're versing a melee comp. Ember Tap? First off, let me talk about that tier. You do not want any of these others. Dark Regeneration is the only good healing talent for specs outside of Destro. Destro has the best one. Ember Tap causes 50% more healing and returns 50% of its Burning Ember cost. Returns 50% of the Burning Ember cost. That is fantastic. And in PvP combat, it heals me for about 20% health. 20% health instantly. For about half of an Ember. So if you have 4 Embers up and you're getting bursted, you can just spam this and be at full health easily. And Burning Embers aren't that hard to generate. So don't be afraid to sacrifice damage for that Ember Tap. Living is much more important than maybe getting your burst off. Oh, and then one more thing I forgot about. Our Shadow Burn. What's pretty cool about Shadow Burn is it works with Havoc. So if you Havoc somebody and then Shadow Burn, it'll hit 2 targets. And remember, Shadow Burn does a huge amount of damage. It's probably the second best execute in the game, behind Warrior's actual execute. Pretty cool. Alright guys, well, that's it. I just want to go over basic rotations. I did leave out Immolate. It's not all that important in PvP. It's good to keep a dot up on a rogue, you know, make them waste their Cloak of Shadows so they can vanish. Or if their Cloak of Shadows on cooldown, they can't vanish because they have a dot on them. You know, they'll be brought right back out anyways. It generates Burning Embers whenever it crits, well, a small amount. It's not that good. In PvE, it's a lot more useful. If you enjoyed the video, hit that subscribe button. And if you had any comments, feel free to leave them down there. I'm pretty good at replying to them. Thanks for watching.